Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of Severn, Nick, and today we will be continuing our conversation with Litto Gomez Jr. of Flor Dominicana. We are in the middle of our conversation about where the cigar industry will be in the next 15 years. Litto is one of the up-and-coming, new generation of cigar manufacturers, and I thought it would be interesting to get his Gen Z perspective on where the industry is at and where it will be going. As well, obviously he speaks to his own company, but then in general also on the industry. So let's go ahead and jump right into the second part of our conversation, and I will catch you guys on the other side. And I am back with part two of my conversation with Litto Gomez Jr. So I won't ask how you are, because I know how you are, because for you and I, we just took 2 minutes.
How could I not? I'm hanging out with Nick Miller on the cigar pool.
There you go. There you go.
By the way, this is so perfect for a Monday because I could just ignore responsibilities for 2 to 3 hours.
There you go. What are you talking about? No responsibilities. You're hyping up the brand and you're being an ambassador right now. This is great. So, well, I'm excited because I'm now going to fire up that carbon flower. So, can you tell me a little bit about the blend here, or is that proprietary?
Blend? No, yeah. The blend is,
one of those undisclosed blends?
No, it's not. It's fully disclosed. Oh. We're proud of what we're able to do here. And I want to say unique because it is, but unique is a word that's so overused. It's the first time we do a cigar that's San Andres on top of San Andres.
Okay.
Right? Why is that a big thing? San Andres is a very overpowering varietal, especially the negro that we use, right?
Yeah.
It's a very overpowering varietal. So I think it's cool to see it from a company that, that's one had essentially way back when the ones to control full body and make it so where or full body isn't the other type of full body that's just a bunch of under fermented tobacco to give you a punch in the throat. So you think it's full body, right? So for us, it's a really cool experiment of how do we take a dragon and how do we tame it? And I think we were able to do that, right? Yes, that cigar is full body, but it's very flavor forward. You're getting more flavor than you are fullness on the strength. And it's a smooth smoking experience, right? You got that signature LFD pepper on the retro that people know and love from us, while also offering, this refined, same like the Ursa, refined version of full body but full flavor and full strength, right? So it's a great project. I spoke on a previous show about the carbon flower as a whole, right? I think everything about it is sick. I'm also a believer that cool packaging is cool as long as the cigar is actually good.
For sure.
To me, this is what makes that project so complete because the cigar is very special. We're only doing it for this. We're never releasing that blend again.
Oh, I know. So this is it. This is it.
And we only made 1,500 cases.
Oh, so this is it. I better enjoy it. All right. Well, time to cut the cigar, and the official cut is brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Two Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows Two Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family owned and operated, 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and excellent customer service. So head on over to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. And remember, that's the number 2guyscigars.com. So we're going to give this guy a cut. Now you have a little pigtail. You got the little braid at the end. Piggy. Yeah. Do you guys do that on many of your cigars? I don't really remember seeing that on many of your cigars.
On a couple.
Okay.
Right? I think people should use them more. I think they're super elegant. I love the way a pigtail looks. We have it on the DL Churchill Escudo Especial.
Okay.
We have it on the La Volcada, and we have it on the cigar formerly known as M, the TCFKA-M. So a little backstory on that. We released the cigar way back when, part of the Ligero line, as the Misterio, right? Like mystery, I guess.
Okay.
Little did we know, true family-owned company, the behavior, it was trademarked. We needed
Oh
a
no.
name. So instead of just making it the M, we decided to name it the TCFKA-M, the cigar formerly known as M.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And
Well,
that is a figurado with a pigtail on top. It's a beautiful cigar.
all right. Right off the bat, it's coming off very, very smooth. I just did an off the foot retrohale, and there was no like I Sean made it out to be this like throat slitter right from the start. I'm just like expecting something to just come and kick my ass like right in the beginning, but it's like it's starting off very deceptive based upon his description and maybe what you're saying. So we'll
It creeps up on you, though.
all right, well we'll keep
Not a
smoking.
full boom, but it's like a, hey, I'm here, by the way.
All right, well we'll keep smoking this and seeing what we got. So all right, so last time we talked about it was kind of broad. We got into farming, we got into all kinds of things. Today I want to talk a little bit about a couple of different topics, and I'm going to start off with pricing. And do you feel like premium cigars are at risk of pricing themselves out of the next generation?
Yes and no, right?
Okay.
I think that consumers place cigars in a buckets, right? And I think it all depends which bucket you sell your cigars to, who your consumers are. Because there's a consumer right now that they don't mind paying 25, they don't mind paying 30, they don't mind 40. Then there's the everyday consumer who, they may, right?
Yeah.
It may be too much for them, right? And it's always a good thing to have a little bit of both, right? I think for all consumers, it is important to realize that same way your life is getting more expensive, granted, I want to throw this out here. There's price raises. I'm going to be honest. Industry's going to hate me. Some companies have price raises, not price raises, right?
Yeah.
That's just what happens. It's fine. But at the same time, right? Like we're in a position where our expenses are getting higher and higher because wages keep going up, and we're a company that prides ourselves on being the highest paying in the Dominican Republic. It's because the people who work for us, they really are like family and they deserve it, right? So that's a real thing. And I think, general price raises, they're always made to be the boogeyman. But
Yeah.
sometimes if you don't do it, that cigar will not continue to be that cigar. I just want to make it very clear.
Yeah.
But I do think that sometimes people take advantage, right? And 2 years ago, we saw $1,100,000 cigars. Right?
Yes.
I hate to want to say it, but in my mind, it's kind of hard unless you're only making, let's say, 500 of them. It's kind of hard to justify that price point. So,
Quite frankly, even then, I feel like it's hard to justify that price point. I mean,
I get it if that's what the market calls for, right? If the market it decides that price point, we can't change that.
Yeah.
Right. But like direct from like the manufacturer, I think it's really hard to kind of justify it. And like, aging tobacco for so many years shouldn't be the reason why you decide to spend $100 a cigar purely, right?
Yeah.
But look, I think that price has become a form of marketing, right? So if a company is entering a certain new consumer group, I don't think it's bad, right? And they want to target that by using a certain price point. I don't think it's bad. I also think that a lot of it too, like, when we're in the $30 and $40, $50 range, a lot of that is really justifiable, right? In terms of what you're doing with your boxes, what the box looks like if there's it depending on the tobacco you use, if it's a low yield tobacco, if it's something that's a pain in the ass to work with, because at that point that price is solely covering the tobacco that was unusable, right?
Well, no, and that can make sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So like, I think it's nice for people to also see it like, and look, my favorite part of taking new people down to the factory is them after they complain about $20 cigars. This is really cheap to what I just witnessed, because you have 100 people, 100 hands on a cigar.
Yeah.
It's not just this button that, unfortunately, a lot of consumers think that, and a lot of retail shops think like that. You hit a button, a cigar flies out, and we're good. And everything's happy. But that's not the case. So, like, it's walking a fine line. I do think that, we have responsibility that, and honestly, we're in this bucket now, right? We got, because of years of not doing consistent price raises, LFD, certain cigars got placed in a bang for buck category. I wouldn't say they're necessarily bang for buck. I just think they're really good fucking cigars. But, again, this goes back to the same thing. If we screw up our quality, right, we're hurting the guy who has decided that every day for his life he wants to smoke an LFD at the end of his day, no matter how good or how bad that day was. If we price him out, we are doing a giant fucking disservice. And it's the same thing in my eyes. So yes, there's it's a very fine line to walk on. But at the same time, we do need to make sure that the cigars can continue to be at that quality. Like last year, right? You saw a bunch of these price raises for the tariff.
Yeah.
We didn't have them. We had a price raise that had to do with the fact that 3 months into the year, the president of the American Republic decided in June we're raising by 13%.
Yeah. But it had nothing to do with it.
We undershot and balanced on some other stuff, right? But I mean, yeah, man, that's just kind of it's a very fine line. I'm in agreement with you that sometimes it gets egregious. Like, and you look at it, you're like, come on. I look at it, I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
And I get pissed because I know what goes into making it. It's like,
exactly.
Okay.
So then to that point, do you think that value cigars are going to be just that much more important to the industry survival? Because, I mean, to your point, last year and the year before, it seemed like we were seeing all these really high dollar cigars coming out of nowhere. This year, walking around PCA,
we're back in value.
There was an emphasis on value cigars.
And I knew it was coming because I've been hearing about this for a while now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, or retailers have been like, we've heard it, right? Hey, we don't have any $8 cigars anymore. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I think there's a giant wave of that. I do think there's so much you could do with it. But you can still continue to make great cigars at that price point. But look, like where we are, right? I think a lot of our cigars are underpriced.
Yeah.
But that's who we intended it to, and we won't price gouge people just to switch overnight. We will have more expensive releases in the future. That is happening. But I mean, yeah, it really is, dude. At the end of the day, this is all price. It, unfortunately, is a subjective thing.
Yeah.
What it means to you. I'm sure you've been in factories, so you understand that $12 to you isn't that much of a burden. That 16 isn't that much of a burden. But then you have people who just smoke to smoke. Yes, it becomes more of a burden, right?
Yeah.
So it really all depends.
Okay. Well, now, so then we're going to pivot slightly because there's been a number of brands that are either directly doing it or playing footsie with the concept of direct to consumer. And do you feel as though that's going to be important for manufacturers 15 years from now? I mean, I know obviously we've talked about it in the last episode that we did, and then I just know that you guys obviously value your relationships with brick and mortar retailers and everything, but like there's a lot of brands that are playing, like I said, they're either playing footsie or they're going all in on the direct to
It's
consumer.
hilarious. It's hilarious. And like, you know what? I'm going to be honest. There was a conversation I had 2 days ago. This is the general idea of it.
Yeah.
Right? The way I see it, right? And if you want to crucify me, you can. The way I see it personally is that we 100% have a responsibility to the people who are the reason why I have clothes on my back, right? And those are the retailers. So 1,000%, I am against direct to consumer on the most parts. However, I'm just floating an idea. If we're able to communicate directly to the consumer via outreach we get, right, from that consumer and direct consumer info, we will then we'll be able to create products that are more suited towards your retailers and will be our consumers, and we'll be able to understand your consumers better, right? So, if you make something that is available solely for retailer, for direct to consumer, and solely for, I don't know, there's ways to play around with. I think for us, whatever decision we make will always be, okay, how do we do this in a way that won't impact or retailers, right? But I also do see the value in being able to communicate and interact and market directly towards your end consumer. I think it's pivotal in getting us to that where we want to be in 15 years. Right?
No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, almost treating it like
I'm able to be the controller of my narrative to your consumer. I know you're going to be selling a lot more LFDs.
Well, and it almost acts as a focus group type situation too. I mean, if you're limiting the product that's available directly, like you said, you can get information and go from there. But yeah.
100%, and like, I think if we find a way that we're able to do it where it works out for the retailers, and that back part I said of, okay, now I'm learning how to, exactly how you said, a focus group. Now I'm learning how to market better to your people. Here you go. Right.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, but I am against the normal stuff. And then also on one day to the next, hey, I told you need to bring this in, but now I'm also going to sell to consumers, but you still have to carry this and move it.
So
you're just a dick about it.
Yeah. So, all right. Pivoting again. We're going to go into concept of innovation versus tradition. How do you balance innovation with tradition in a product that people don't want to change too much?
It's a great question. I have a million responses to this. At the base level, I think our core value moving forward in a world that's so, detached from their hands, from service, from this, right? The art of making cigars should be where it's at. Mm-hmm. We could be a lot more efficient. We could be smarter about how we go about some things. Supply chain can be cleaned up for every company, 1,000%. But when we talk about making cigars, right? I don't want a million of Elon's robots, even though they would be less headaches than a bunch of Dominicans. I don't want to put a bunch of Elon. They would be a lot easier to deal with, let me just tell you.
I think Tremac might like a whole factory of Elon's robots. He's pretty big into the robot
It would
thing.
be easy. It would be a lot easier to deal with, let me tell you.
I think he'd want to replace his sales force with a bunch of robots before it's all said
and done. No. That's where I draw a line. On top of being a retailer first, I also have a crazy obsession with how companies need to be treating sales reps. And I personally think that we are at the best, if not working to that. Like my time at the road, I learned a lot. And, the first changes I made was drastically change how much we paid our guys. So that doesn't say enough, But yes, well, I'm never replacing my sales guys for robots. I'll never.
There you go.
But so on the note of making things more efficient, I think we can. I think this is an art, and you can't change that. And if you change that, I don't want to be part of this industry anymore because it's way too special to me for many reasons. But talking about tradition, right? It's such a family industry, right? My dad's best friends are all cigar makers. My sister's best friends are kids of cigar makers. My best friends are kids of cigar makers. Like it is so locked in and dialed in. And like one thing you learn is that every company has their own tradition and legacy, right? And I know how much of a battle that is for the new generation because I've been through it, and like it's hard because in a way, and this is deep, now that I'm thinking about it, in a way, you're telling, let's say your parents, the people, the only two people in this world that truly, always look out for you for the most part. I at least for myself, always look out for me, and have placed this onto you and said, hey, I'm letting you have a part in this, right? It's when you come with your crazy ideas, it can come across as if you're saying, yeah, you're 30 years of building this beast. How do you do that? Right?
Yeah.
I'm incredibly thankful where I am who I am. And I am very much like, if I strongly believe on it, I am fucking dying on a hill. You need to carry me off the hill dead. But at the same time, like, and I've had a lot of time, obviously, to reflect on like my parents, and what I guess, or because every family has their own tradition of doing things. What our tradition is, my father succeeded and my mother succeeded because they didn't have anybody a generation before them to tell them this is good and this is bad. And 99% of the things that made LFD jump out from the early beginning was because my father ignored all voices or norms in the industry. Curing barns, they used to be all wood, or they used to be with just palm fronds or with the aluminum, right? We have different curing barns for, and according to my father, we were the first in the DR to kind of change it. Now we have half wood, half like the tiki shit. Then we have all tiki, and the way we let out and aerate at first was a first. But again, it's because he was told by others, no, it's a terrible idea. But he didn't have somebody to be like, nope, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
And it worked, right? So I look at like the legacy I got to live up to is honestly the exact same mentality, right? Like I've been blessed. So like, and my father, he doesn't even have to like break him up, but there's some things that we just see, okay, that won't change, that won't change. But this over here, it can. And this is both me and my brother, and we're encouraged to come in with crazy ideas. We're encouraged to come in and challenge and question. It's the way that we were raised. And, we built up an atmosphere in an environment here where it's not always, it comes across as disrespectful. We all, like me and my brother and my younger sister, who eventually she'll be working here as well. Everybody is incredibly grateful and aware of we have what we have, and it's for one very good reason. But at the same time, how do you move forward, right? There's the quote, what brought us here won't get us there.
Yeah.
So, it's very nuanced, but I think that, our tradition is continue being the outcast, crazy motherfuckers. Like, just throw a bunch of shit out of wall. Hey, stop. So yeah, and I love it, and I'm blessed I'm able, because that's how I am naturally. So the fact that that's encouraged and that's celebrated here, it's great. And I've had a perfect example. I had to sit my parents down and tell them, look, we're going to have to institute new systems, and maybe not everybody will be able to purchase a cigar anymore. The sheer, are you out of your mind? Like,
Yeah.
because that's an older generation. Like, they think everything like that will piss off a customer, right? Well, if I tell somebody no, yeah, but if I tell somebody you can, like this is like what you got to do, two different things entirely, right? And I based my whole career on this, and like now, it's only been a year, they're like, oh my God, this was brilliant, like, and they love it. And that's
that does seem like a counterintuitive kind of attitude to take, that whole like, well, from their perspective, they wanted to sell their products to as many different shops as possible. They didn't necessarily, discriminate or care as to who was buying. As long as somebody was buying their product, they were happy, right? You're saying we need to we have a finite amount of product that we can put out in a year. We need to make sure that we're getting everybody what they order, but that means that we need to be selective perhaps as to who we're bringing to the dance with us, Yeah,
but also like the sheer, at its simplest form, you have a guy who's built your brand and you have a new account who may have priorities elsewhere. Who are you going to give that product to?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And it worked, right? And that was a gamble that I know for them it was fucking hard, really hard to take. And every now and then I still get, this morning, it was a case on a certain account, like, hey, I worked it out. But like the beauty in it was that I was able to try. And I knew full well if it did not work out, it was my head, and it's fine. But it's a beautiful thing, right? And I know not, it's a younger generation, like my people. Not all the other kids are able to come across that way or in that position where they're able to act in a certain way. And I'm incredibly thankful for that opportunity because I know that it's just bringing our company forward. And also I get to do something I think every kid should be able to do. Screw the fuck up and fail a million times. Like that when I took the job, I told them I'm only doing it if I could screw up.
Yeah.
Right. Because I need to, because I don't know a thing about shit. And I need to mess up a million times. And I did, and it worked out, So like that, when you asked about tradition, that's how I see tradition at this company. I think my father will agree to it. He'll also throw in that at the end of the day, his word is always key. But he is always right 9 times out of 10, because then he'll switch his opinion and say he was always in your favor. Okay, I knew it was a great idea. I was just playing with your mind, okay? I was making sure you were sure. I was like, I'm sure you were that.
As long as it gets done, I guess. So then along those lines, is there anything about the cigar industry that you think should change, but the industry resists?
Well, yeah, I think we spoke about the previous episode, the way we come to market.
Yeah.
I think we need to quit the bastardization of certain terms, right? Number one, master blender, because now you're just devaluing the word entirely. Look, I'm here saying I am nowhere near shape or form what a true master blender should be. When I think master blenders, I think people like Ernie from EPC, my father, Fuente, Padron, like that's what I think.
A limited number of people.
It's, not everybody can do that, right? And what is a master blender, right? It's not just, having somebody make a blend for you, or even just flying down and making a blend from a pre-selected limited and not trying the full spectrum of tobacco. But it's okay. Are you going into a droja every day? Like my brother and my father do first thing in the morning, going to a droja, try a new droja, making sure it's fermenting the right way, right? Even if you get nicotine poisoning because the shit is so strong, are you doing it right? I think that comes into it. and there's a lot of cases like that, like boutique, you know, that word gets thrown around on everything for essentially a private label. Like I think words matter, right? And I think we need to begin bringing back value to words. I think we need to quit trying to take share from each other. And I also think we need to quit trying to copy each other, right? There were a lot of releases last year, even for larger companies, I think were pretty similar to ours, you know, from 10 years ago. And slogans and shit like that. Right? I think, like, why are we going to steal when we could come together and push each other and have healthy competition? Right?
That definitely feels like something in the industry. If something works for one, then all of a sudden everybody's doing that thing.
Blue bands.
There you go.
Blue bands.
I mean, well, just naming
Green
cigars
bands.
colors at this point. I can think of like at least 3 different companies now where it's like they just have a color as the name of their cigar, you know? And I'm sure there are plenty others.
There is some logistical genius in that because it makes things very clear. But yes.
It does, but at the same time, one person or one company does it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, look, you know, everybody's got this going on. So,
yeah, so like I think there's a lot of copycatting going along, and people say, oh, like it's. I also like blends. I try not to tune in to like blend descriptions that much and like notes because, like, you know, now blends are Habano and Maduro, this and that. Like I'm just like, wait, but you could have a Habano wrapper that's also theoretically, because it's a Habano seed, you could have a Maduro Habano. Like, yeah, and maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. Am I the idiot here? But like certain things, like,
no, it's confusing as hell. I have people, listeners and whatnot, that talk to me, and they don't realize that a Maduro is not its own like plant type or strain. You know, they don't realize that a Maduro might be, like you just said, a Maduro version of a Habano. It's like Maduro is a descriptive, not an actual tobacco varietal, you know,
but also to the process to bring it to that point.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's a lot of shit that I get confused, and like I just I think we make this too, like it's way too much. You know, I think we need to go back to basics and like highlight really good tobaccos and play around with it, and like you could have a Maduro anything theoretically. Right. And like I think that a lot of people try to, and all that comes from trying to copy.
Yeah.
Some companies do those and they do very well at, you know, and it makes things very clear cut, and planogramming's genius. And there's a company that made a living off it and they do great things. And, you know, like it's just like, can we be a little more creative than just say the X brand Connecticut, the X brand Maduro, when, you know, somebody is already doing a great job doing that. Right. You know, like I just shit like that. And by the way, we're talking about how the industry moves forward. I think by doing really bland, not tasting, but just very generic names and things like that, that's how we stay exactly where we are.
No. Oh, now that's an interesting point.
The 25-year-old, he's going to read something, Lennox, Solis. That sounds a lot cooler than X brand Connecticut. It just have to do with the Connecticut, the state. You know, like have some appeal, throw something in there. You know, we're all interesting people. We all have a story to tell. Preach your fucking story.
I like that. So okay, so we're getting down to the end here. I have plenty. I've cut some, but that's all right. You know,
we could go a few minutes over if you're like.
We're fine. So I have 4 specific remaining questions here. So if someone's smoking your cigars 15 years from now, what do you hope they're experiencing?
If they smoke the cigar today, that it smokes the exact same 15 years from now.
Consistency.
Right. So that's a big one. If it's a new time smoker, I hope it's somebody who realizes a little bit earlier that, you know, I'm not trying to make the cigar their entire personality or identity. But I hope when they smoke it, they feel they get something out of life and they get something new, and that it helps them be who they want to be and display who they want to be. and who they are, most important. But I also, like, you know, we've been talking about this stories and individuality. I hope that they get a sense of, like, I'm not just smoking a cigar. I'm smoking a product from a family-owned company started by two people who came over here with absolutely no money, created this really cool brand that, you know, has changed the culture, and not just cigars, but grand scheme of things in our society, right? And has made an impact and has, you know, great morals and meanings behind it. So yeah, I mean, that's what I hope. That's the dream. I think we're on the right path, unless 15 years from now, maybe it turns out I made a bunch of terrible decisions. Who knows? But yeah, like I really hope that, you know, we continue the way we're going. But it will always be quality that's hands out with La Flor, and also ingenuity and individuality. I think that's just very important.
So what's one decision that you're making today specifically because of where you think the industry is headed?
Okay. That's sharp that you asked that, because it's another way of saying, what are you hiding? So one, the way we come to market on a lot of things will be a lot of difference, right? So promos, like, the marketing has kicked up a notch, and there's going to be a release that kind of breaks everything in October, November. We're incredibly excited about. It's a special year for us. That's all I'm going to say. And then, you know, there may be you know, let's say we're trying to push bounds on how LFD is viewed and what our branding is, right? But there is at least a trade adjustment that we're excited about. I think this is the first time I openly talk about it. Is, you know, we want to be more involved in the great state of California.
Okay.
Right. So we're going to be doing the necessary things to make sure we can get our product in there at a certain volume. So I'm excited about that, because it's something I've been working on forever, and I finally, you know, water breaking the stone over 100 years. That's what it's been. You know?
We didn't even get into all the government related questions and stuff I've got, which, you know, that's fine, but holy shit, you know, California with the list and everything. I mean, that's a complicated thing out there.
We're working on the licensing for the distributorship, and then this and that.
Yeah.
We're reporting the tax, but at a certain point, there's a consumer who loves your product everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't alienate anybody, you know? So that's like the goal here. And I know our California retailers are so happy because they never thought the day would come. So to be the drop of water that broke the rock is good. Feels nice. But that's a big one that I think will help bring us to where we want to be. It's going to increase our exposure. It's a brand new market. You know, there's a lot of California is cool because you know, it has a lot of LFD guys, but it also has a lot of people this new market we're trying to break into.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have, like, traditional blue collar guys who love LFD, and then you have, you know, your more white collar. It's a great mix. It's a great culture. Hey, you know, may have differences with the government, but that's fine. To each own. Yeah, I'm trying not to say.
I get it. You got to play within the
things going there. I don't want to.
You got to play within the rules that are set.
Yeah, because maybe you know, like someone's listening, so I can't talk too much. You never know who's listening on the cigar pulpit.
I don't know about that.
So, like, yeah, but yeah, that's a big one. And you know, I have a million ideas. You know, I'm working on a cool way to launch a bunch of new limited stuff that hasn't been seen in the industry before, more as like a trade mechanism than just like it's a limited product, you know, because that's the one that I think is sometimes limiteds are just limited to be limited.
Oh, tell me about it.
Or limiteds are because we have no more than like two people who own them.
That's a whole nother grievance I have, is the whole limited, because in my opinion, limited editions, I'll just be direct. I think limited editions suck for the most part, because either you love them and you fall in love with it, and then you realize I'm only going to have this for a limited amount of time, and then it goes away. So you get that disappointment that you can't have that thing that you loved anymore. Or you buy it because it is limited and you're taking the chance on it, and then you get it and it's just kind of like, well, this wasn't worth it. And I've had both experiences with limit, not necessarily. I don't think I've had any limiteds from you guys, but my point is, you know,
it was unaware that they were limited at the
okay.
time.
Well, there you go.
Police, for example,
Yeah.
the limited, the carbon flowers are limited, the bulls are limited.
Well, I knew that's true. I did know the carbon flower was limited.
The 30th
anniversary. The bull I don't necessarily count as limited per se, as much as just
what's it's not a limited edition, it's a limited production.
Well, that's what I'm getting to, is there's limited production to where like the Aladino Corojo, the number 4 that they come out with, that's limited production. They come out with it once a year. You know, the Yagua from JC Newman that comes out a couple times a year. You know that's limited production. It comes out, but it continues. Whereas, like, you know, I'm talking like some of the just complete one-offs that come out of nowhere. It's out for like, that was it. What we released that time was it, and blah, blah, blah. And that's the ones that I think suck, because it's like, you try it, and like I said, if you love it, then, you know, you're not getting it anymore. Sorry, it was limited.
Hey, so more upfront, bro.
I guess. So,
no, but you're right. And you know what? We don't do a lot of limited editions. We will. Not a lot, but like every now and then, you know, like celebratory stuff. Yeah, but no, there are a lot of limited editions. You know, there's a lot of the usage on it is different from our side, right? You know, some companies do it just to get a kick in sales.
Well, a kick in sales. Maybe they don't have access to the tobacco they want for this product, so they go ahead, use the little bit that they were able to get, and they just we'll do the limited thing or something like that, you know.
But on that note, tobacco, you know, like, what if I remove the fact that maybe a company said, I'm going to make a limited just to make a limited, and let's say the thought process to make a limited wasn't there. It was like, I only have X amount of this tobacco. I want to make something really cool. Yeah. Just so good. You know, that's a very different place that's coming from. And I think that is worth it. You know, I think that is a more meaningful. I get it. I'm with you.
It's sure. I get it.
I'm not going to use this tobacco that I know is so special and you guys will love, and I'm not going to use it because I can't make it again. I'm also at that point, I'm doing a disservice to you, because if I feel that strongly about something, it's like that's
valid,
right? So there's a different way to doing it,
but it's still a giant tease in the end. It can still be a giant tease in the end, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like for me, I mean,
it's not good. You know, that's different. I can't defend that.
Well, no, I'm not saying if it's not good. I'm saying if it is good, and I can't, and it's like, oh man, it's like, that was really awesome, and now I can't have anymore. But that's just me being a whiny consumer, I guess.
Yes. So. But look, you're, at least with us, you're in good hands, where you may know a person or two if spares ever end up and you ask, you know, you may get something special.
So if you had to bet on one major change coming to cigars, what would that be?
Fuck.
There's got to be something that you're just sitting there, just, and we're not talking necessarily LFD, we're talking in general, just something that you're sitting there going, you know, this is going to happen. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. This thing is going to happen. What would you say is a major change that's going to come to cigars?
More of a sure bet is the quality of lounges. I think the experiences and the tide towards, you know, everyday culture are going to keep growing, right? In terms of the production, I think from certain brands, the quality of cigars you're about to get is about to be otherworldly. You're going to get, you know, I think some brands may begin trying to register for the organic stuff, and I think more people want to do a play off what Placencia is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think that could happen. I think you're going to get a bunch of Cuba is a giant question mark. So you're going to get a company that probably a bigger name company that mass markets a shit out of them, say that they have Cuban tobacco and their stuff. And let's say it's real, it's going to be terrible quality and it's going to forever ruin the name of Cuban tobacco.
I'll be honest. I personally think once the floodgates open, once the ability to have it is open, I think what's going to happen is you're going to have that initial bump in interest. You're going to have all these people that are like, "Oh, the Cuban cigars are finally available," and blah blah blah, and all that. And I think what's going to end up happening is people are going to smoke it, and they're going to be like, "It's not as good as the New World stuff." And
Yeah,
and
100%.
also it's that forbidden fruit thing. Right now, everybody gives a shit because you can't get it. But the minute you can get it, is that interest going to wane at that point?
1,000%. And then what's going to happen? As I said, a company from here, a New World company, is going to say they have Cuban tobacco and they're going to use Cuban tobacco and they're going to buy it cheap from the government because the government's out of money. They're going to use it. It's awful. The tobacco there is unusable right now. A hard pill for people to swallow. Sorry. It sucks. And the name will forever be blemished. Kind of what happened with San Andreas.
Yeah.
Right? The same thing. And then the American consumer is going to be like, fuck. And it's going to take 20 years for that to be rebuilt from the day that it opens up. So
interesting. Now, you just touched on, you just mentioned the American consumer. So I'm going to pivot and I'm going to throw one more curveball at you before my final question here. So obviously we've seen a giant growth overseas in the European and Asian markets. Do you think there's ever a day where the American market is not the predominant market for premium cigars?
I don't think so. At least not for our companies.
Yeah.
China.
China. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, they've been going after cigars for a while. And let me tell you, the second they know how to grow good tobacco, we're fucked. The efficiency of these people is remarkable. Oh my God. I've seen pictures of aging rooms. Everything's wrapped in the paper, and it's like the honeycomb.
Yeah.
Like all the caps of cigars are one way. It distinguish blends by they'll put a 2 in the middle with the cigars by flipping them the other side. So
really,
once in the middle there's like a 2. Like the organization and the practicality of it is just oh my God. Right?
Interesting.
So, yeah, I've seen some crazy pictures. So like, look, I think that it is ramping up big time. I know this Project Carbon release.
By the way, you're right. It does sneak up on you.
How is it? I forgot
it's good. I've been doing retrohales. I have not had it. There is that slight bit of pepper, but Sean must have been just weak that morning or something like that. I don't know. But like, at no point am I sitting here going like, okay, look, the digger will slit my throat. This is not slitting my throat, but this is a cigar where it's like, hey, I'm here. Don't forget about me. It's not weighing heavy on me, but it is a heavy. I mean, it's a bold smoke. So
yeah, it's fuller, but it's more flavor than it is strength, right? And that's
yes. And I'll also say that the how do I put this without being direct? So there are other cigars I know where it's triple Maduro or San Andreas on San Andreas and this and that and whatever and blah blah blah. And sometimes you get that and it's just like, okay, it's a lot of the same. This is different. This is good and it's smoking very well and it's got good flavor to it. It's not like Yeah, I'm not going to get too deep. I'm not going to
I
compare it too
appreciate it,
much.
bro,
But
but
you know what I'm talking about.
but you said exactly what like we wanted. It's not it's not the same puff over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that when you're limiting the use of tobacco, it's great. It says a lot about our factor and what we're able to do. So
And it's a little smokestack too. It's like you draw on it and it just kicks off so much.
chimney. It's
I
ridiculous.
love that. That's one of the big things for me when I'm smoking and reviewing cigars. It's like, is this thing kicking off a lot of? I want to be obnoxious with my smoke. I want to know. It's a me thing. It's not me being obnoxious to other. I want to know that I'm smoking a cigar. Like I want this thing to be puffing and kicking out smoke all over the place. I want it to be thick. And sometimes you get these cigars and it's this little wisp of smoke coming off of it and this and that and whatever. And it's like, well, that's no fun. I want it to be, I want the smoky room, it's like, I want it to be there, And so this is giving off a ton of really good smoke. I'm loving it.
Fuck yeah, bro.
So
yeah, no. So like, I think America will always be our bread and butter, but I think other markets will continue to go. And the thing with China is like, they're going to grow, but it will be from their own cigars too. Right. So that's what I think, but it'll always be the USA, baby.
there you go.
USA. But like, look, other countries are passing bans right now, right? US, if anything, is being more legal to the point.
Yeah, I mean, hell, you've got the UK that put in the generational ban. I know other places are talking about. I just read somewhere that the health minister or whatever in Canada is actually starting to look at that as a result of the UK doing it. And so it's like that's a spooky thing just in general right there. I mean, hell, 15 years from now, there's generations of potential cigar people that now cannot buy the product living in those countries.
So. 100%. But I do think that certain countries, it will grow. Right. It just, and I also feel like we have a responsibility to help garner that culture. So we'll see.
I think education is the big key there. I think, unfortunately, cigars get lumped in with other tobacco products, be it cigarettes, vape, whatever it happens to be. And I think, I think the more education and I don't know who that falls upon. I know PCA does a lot. I know CRA and various other, organizations do quite a bit, but there's only so many people. I think it's incumbent on not just those organizations, not just manufacturers, but it's also incumbent on just your everyday smoker. If a consumer is sitting around somewhere and maybe they're friends with like a local city councilman or something like that, just hype it up, like talk about that it's not the same product and this and do the research and blah, blah, blah. Everybody needs to be an advocate, I guess is what I'm saying.
Everybody does need to be an advocate, right? And I agree with you. At the same time, politicians will do what politicians do.
Oh, yeah.
When I was a rep up in Mass, in the Northeast, and
boy, there's a state that I think could go generational before it's all said and done.
So when that got introduced, the mayor or the congressman from the district that first proposed it, right? It was right outside of Boston. One of my really good accounts that I had a great relationship with, he was the one filling me in. And he goes, and that motherfucker, I see him and his son smoking a Corona in Florida when they go vacation for 6 months of the year.
Yeah. There you go.
Politicians will do as they do. Right? We can't rely on them anymore. But yes, be an advocate. People talk to people, right? But also, don't be obnoxious with your smoke. Don't blow it into a mother,
Well, no, obviously not. That's and these pictures of people standing and smoking their cigars right next to the no smoking signs. That's my own personal pet peeve. I see that on Instagram. It's like, look at me.
My dad is super guilty of that.
Oh, I hate that shit so much, man.
But he does it to troll and to piss him off. So actually, yeah, he needs to stop. He was on CRA.
That's just one of those personal things of mine. I'm just like, man, you're not helping. You're not helping.
No, you're not. But he took a picture. He lit up in the Capitol building in front of a no smoking sign. Like, and took a picture and asked it immediately.
I mean, he's in the Capitol building, so I guess you know if you're gonna do a little protest, I guess that's not the the worst one.
If you're gonna be heard, that's where you get heard.
There you go. So, final question for this. Fast forward 15 years. What is something we're going to look back on from today and say, I can't believe that's how the cigar industry used to work?
In a perfect world, all the crazy discounting. In my perfect world, crazy discounting.
Yeah.
And using homegrown CRMs from the 1980s. Right. So an improvement in technology. But I also think, that, talking about purpose and releasing with purpose, right? Hopefully we get away from the releases, that, how do I put this? Shit. The blue
Go for it. Hot take.
Blue sky. Like, I don't know if that's a line, but like, let's not just release to release. That's the same way. Let's not make a limited just to make a limited. Let's not discount just to discount. Let's be a purpose-driven fucking industry and manufacturers. That is in a dream world. And, I hope we can work on some sort of happy solution for direct to consumer in a way, as we spoke, right? And, also, we continue to see manufacturers help out retailers like I think we are, right? And being retailer first companies, right? None of the sleek shit. So yeah, that's kind of what I hope. And you know what? Another one, I hope that I have a lot more of my peers of this younger generation running the companies, right? That's something I would love to see, right? I know I'm blessed to have the position that I have, and many of the others may say so. But I hope, we're all competing at the highest level and doing what our parents did, bro, taking this from point A to all the way here, and looking back and being happy about it. So,
yeah. Well, I this has been fun. I wanted to sit and talk with you about this because obviously with you being, of the younger generation that's in this, I hoped and I thought, and you've proven out that you would have some good insight as to where this is all going, because obviously, like we talked about, your folks and everything, and they've done things their way, and that's great. But, time marches on, new generations take over, and new generations have new ideas. The world advances, technology advances, everything moves forward. And while this is an industry that obviously prides itself and is going to maintain its history and tradition, there are ways to bring in that advancement into the picture as well. And so this has been a good conversation. I'm glad we did this,
bro. Thank you for having me.
No, this has been
thank
fun.
you to everybody in the pulpit community for listening to me for 2 hours.
So where can people find out more about La Flor Dominicana and also the carbon flower? I'm down to, let's say, right around the final third.
Oh, you spoke fast.
I wasn't doing a lot of talking, so I was able to just sit and smoke. That's the beauty of this, is I've had an hour of just sitting and smoking and enjoying this thing. So, but yeah, so no, this has been good. It's a nice, like I said, it's a good meaty cigar. But I'm not sitting here. My head's not swimmy. I'm not, whatever. It's a good, solid smoke. You're right. It does have that pepper on the retro, but it's not as. There are other ones in your portfolio that are much stronger on that front. So if somebody's maybe afraid of the spice level, it's not oppressive or anything like that. But it is present, and it's a really nice smoke. Where can people find out more about La Flor? And maybe more where they can find out about the
mainly our Instagram. We're a lot more active there. So hop on our Instagram, LFD Cigars. The R1 is our website, And then we're going to have a lot more consumer facing outreach programs coming out soon, not direct to consumer. But we're going to have a lot more outreaching programs soon. So we're excited about that. But yeah, also pop into your brick and mortar, support brick and mortar, please and thank you. LFD, it's hard to find it on most online sites. So make sure you're going through a true LFD a vendor, an LFD signature account. And then, yeah, keep smoking the good stuff. Smoke LFD. Sure, there's a little bit of something for everybody. I'm sure you're going to find something you love.
Well, real quick, all right, you prompted another thing before we go. Something to love. Try the portfolio, the fresh packs. You introduced those at PCA, and those
Fresh
have
packs. If you haven't smoked LFD, go buy a fresh pack. You're gonna find something that you absolutely love. It has a little bit of everything, every profile and body on the scale that we have to offer, and they're all really good cigars, right? So go try a fresh pack if you've never had LFD, and then figure out what you like and what you don't. It's okay if you like something, and it's even better if you do.
When are those going to be available?
They're
out now.
Shops. They're out now.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Litto. I appreciate all your time.
Bro, you are the man. Thank you.
And I really want to thank Litto Jr. for taking time out of his day to have this conversation with me. I think it's important to not just touch base with some of the members of the new generation of cigar manufacturers that are coming up, but also get their take on, where they see not just their companies today, but also where they see their companies in the future. And, look, everybody asks about 5 years, but I that's why I went with 15. I thought it would be interesting to really take it out kind of far. And obviously that's so far out that it's hard to, get specific, but we can play. So I am in the final third of the carbon flower, and as I was telling Litto, it has a strength. I mean, this thing, it's a strong bodied cigar, but it's not pepper forward in the smoking. I mean, it's a very, it's just a strong cigar, but it's good. And I'm enjoying it, and I would smoke this. My opinion on San Andreas can sometimes be 50-50. Sometimes it works. Sometimes for me, it doesn't. This one is working well, and it's smoking really well, and I'm enjoying it. So, anyway, I highly recommend it. It is limited, and I don't remember what the price point is on it, but I don't think it's necessarily a cheap date, but you get that cool case. So, you got that going for you. All right, let's do this now. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. I love it when I have time to get up and do something real quick while that's playing. That was nice. That was convenient. Okay, what have I been watching lately? So I actually have caught up on a few things. And I started a new show. Stars Tim Robinson. It's on HBO. It's called The Chair Company. Now, this show came out a little while ago, so it's not brand new. It's relatively new. The first season is available on HBO Max. And if you know anything about Tim Robinson, he's done some weird shit. He did, there was a show on Netflix called I Think You Should Leave. And he's done a couple other things. And he has a very quirky sense of humor. And so when I saw this show, I thought it was going to be more comedic. And there is some very Tim Robinson awkward humor in the show itself. It does come up to where just character idiosyncrasies, different events, things like that he finds himself in. But the show itself is ominous. It's dark. Basically, what happens is in the first episode, Tim's character is working for this company, and he is assigned to be the project lead for this big. He's working for a developer, and they're developing a new mall in I think Canton, Ohio. And he's the lead, and he has to get up and give a little speech at the company thing. And it's important because all of his bosses are there, and he has to kind of really like get the team really on board with his leadership. And he gives the speech, and everything's fine. And he goes to sit down in a chair, and bam, the chair collapses and breaks. He falls flat on his back, and it's just embarrassing for him. And he can't let it go. So he tries to find the company that made the chair to file a complaint. And in the process of trying to talk to the company to file a complaint about this chair, all the wackiness begins. And before long, you are in a giant like thriller mystery. And I'm telling you, it sounds weird because it is weird, but it's interesting. And before long, you're going down this rabbit hole with him and his character of like, what is going on with this chair company? And I haven't finished it yet. I'm 3 episodes in, and all I'll say is at the end of the 3rd episode, he's installed a security system at his house. And at the end of the 3rd episode, there is a man in a hockey mask sitting in one of the chairs out on his patio, ominously looking at him through the security camera. And his family's at home and he's not. And so he's like flipping out. So like I said, it gets really dark and kind of ominous and weird, but contrast that with his very bizarre sense of humor, and I'm hooked on the chair company. So I'm interested in what else is happening with this, because there's obviously more to it than what I've seen. So that's what I've been watching lately, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about that. So now, the reason I got up, it's time for another lemonade review. So today we will be reviewing the Tractor brand certified organic lemonade. Now, I picked this up at Chipotle because I had my son, and my son loves Chipotle, and they have their fountain drinks, but they also have bottled drinks, and this is the lemonade that they had in the case in the bottled drinks. And so it's from Tractor Beverage Company, created by a farmer, supporting farmers. Chipotle contributes 5% of profits from its sales of Tractor beverages to support farmers. Contains 14% juice. And ingredient wise, water, organic cane sugar, organic lemon juice concentrate, citric acid, organic flavor, organic turmeric extract. But there's floaties in it. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera at all, but there's little pulpy floaty things in there. So it says to shake well. So I'm going to shake it, and it's bubbly. So we're going to give this a try. It is a twist off, thankfully, because I had to scramble up to get myself a bottle opener to do this. But anyway, let's give the Tractor brand certified organic lemonade a try. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. It is sweet. It has some tartness, but not a lot. It's enough that lets you know you are drinking lemonade. But it's sweet. It's good. Man, I'm surprised, actually. I'm going to have to get more of this. I mean, it's only available at Chipotle, which means, unfortunately, I got to go to Chipotle, and the parking lot at the Chipotle near me sucks. Giant hazard. I hate driving in that parking lot, but that's me sounding like an old man. Anyway, okay. Time to give the Tractor a score here. So I'm looking at my list, various lemonades that I've had before. And where would I put this? This is high. This is high on the list. Oh, man. I'm going to give this. This may have just gotten my highest score. My current highest score was a 9 that I gave to the Prairie Farms lemonade, the second week that I did this. I'm going to put the Tractor Organic Lemonade, I'm going to give it a 9.3. 9.3. Yep. 9.3 for the Tractor Organic Lemonade. Super tasty lemonade. A lot of good flavor to it and a nice balance of sweetness to the tartness. I am enjoying it. So, man, I could slam that bottle down and not even think twice about it. So I'm going to set that down to enjoy it a little bit more. So anyway, yes, the Tractor Organic Lemonade that you can get at Chipotle in the bottles. Super tasty stuff. All right, guys. Well, I am available on the socials. On Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit. I am on Facebook where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group. Get in on the fun over there and share what you're smoking. I am on Twitter/X and you can watch this on YouTube and Rumble. I am also always in need of your calls. You can call the hotline for Ask the Pulpit at area code 863-874-0000. That's 863-874-0000 or Tufu Pi with no E 0000. I do the drive time reviews every Wednesday. Those are available on YouTube, Rumble, and TikTok by 7 a.m. on Wednesday. You can head on over there and check those out. They're short. You know, I was originally aiming for like 10 minutes, but now it's more like, by the time it's all said and done, probably anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes of just drive time smoking. And it's much more just a straight cigar review. But yeah, you can head on over there and check those out. I've been doing that for a little while now. By the time this comes out, I think drive time review number 11 will be coming out here shortly. So yeah, we've been doing those for a bit. And then finally, there is the Cigar Chronicle newsletter. Head on over to cigarpulpit.com. There's a little pop-up box that comes up there. You can put in your email address, and once a month, you will be getting an email newsletter from me with all sorts of information, fun stuff, and whatever else. And you'll get that, and it'll be something you can read and enjoy. Some people have said it's good bathroom material. Print copies should be going out in May. So the lounges that have signed up to receive print copies will be receiving them later this month, and you will be receiving those, and you can put those out for your patrons in the lounge to sit and read. If you are a lounge that is interested in receiving free copies of it that you can put out for free for your consumers, let me know. Shoot me an email, nick@cigarpulpit.com, and I would be happy to put you on the list and mail copies to you as well. And finally, the other thing I wanted to touch base on, I did announce some upcoming Parishioner Cigar Zoom meetups. We did the initial Zoom HERFs back in the beginning of April, right around Easter time. I did like 3 days straight of Zoom meetups, and they were fun, and I enjoyed it, and I think the people that came on enjoyed it. So I have some dates that I have listed there. I announced this in the Parishioners group on Facebook, and I'm letting you know that Friday, May 29th is our next one. We have 2 of them in June. It's June 25th and 26th. It's a Thursday and a Friday. Saturday, July 25th, and Thursday, August 27th. So I've scheduled them out through August. I will post those also to the Instagram as well, and I will. If I remember, I should be able to try to remember that I will include them in the Cigar Chronicle newsletter as well. But if you are not someone that uses the socials and you need the login information, again, shoot me an email, nick@cigarpulpit.com. I'd be happy to send you the login information so you've got that sitting there ready and prepared for the next meetup on Friday, May 29th. Otherwise, guys, this has been fun. I really, again, want to thank Litto Jr. for taking time out of his day to sit and chat with me. It was a lot of fun, and I hope it was interesting for you as much as it was for me. And yeah, coming up on the show, there'll be more wackiness. I'll have more stuff coming up. But I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to listen. This has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpits. I'm Nick. Everybody, stay safe and stay smoky. I let my carbon flower sit too long. It went out. I guess that's on me. Anyway, later, guys.